enhancing teaching performance through the adaptation of writing tasks in the official textbook for second baccalaureate learners at 9 de octubre Secondary School by Margarita Gonzalez and Eduardo Luna. Present are the following: introduction, statement of the problem, objectives with general and specific objectives, literature review, methodological framework, data analysis and findings, proposal, conclusions, and recommendations. To start, in introduction, we cite Suleiman, who in 2000 claims that writing is a central element of language. Any reading and language arts program must consider the multidimensional nature of writing in the instructional practices, assessment, procedures, and language development. The concepts regarding the teaching of English as a foreign language writing should include the use of agreed parameters of feedback, pertinent rubrics, and topics relevant to learners. Similarly, Camille Stein, Diaz Magloli, and De Oliveira in 2017 report that in the year 2017, 4,500 English educators were evaluated via standardized exams. Results indicated that only 2% of them reached a V2 level. The statement of the problem narrates the following issues found. First, unsatisfactory performance of students when they are required to produce writing samples. And difficulties in the students' linguistic proficiency were detected. Also, some writing tasks from official textbooks at B1 level, which is not really evidenced by students. The problem is evident. The analysis of the textbook, writing tasks were omitted most of the time. And we have to analyze this by observing the English educators' performance teaching of writing. The general objective of this research is the following: to appraise the teaching and writing performance of English as a foreign language educators through the assessment of the level of completion of textbook writing tasks in order to enhance methodological strategies that foster second baccalaureate learners' writing skills. The specific objectives are the following. First, to assess the completion of textbook reading activities to determine the presence of shortcomings in the teaching, learning, and writing process. Second, to appraise the teaching of writing strategies to develop an engaging environment for second baccalaureate writers. And the third, to establish the contribution of the educators' training sessions and an accompanying booklet on the development of second baccalaureate students' writing skills. In the literature review, the factors analyzed are: first, the teaching and writing in English as a foreign language classes, and also we observed the teaching learners in an ELT atmosphere, which is not really a simple task. According to Noonan, 2003, the principles for teaching are as follows. To start, you need to understand your students' reasons for writing. Then go on to provide many opportunities for students to write. After that, it's necessary to make a feedback helpful and meaningful, and it's also vital to clarify for yourself and for your students how their writing will be evaluated. With regard to the teacher professional development, Marcelo said in 2009, an individual and collective process that should be accomplished in the workplace of the educator, for example, the school. Presley, Mohan, Raphael, and Fingeret in 2007 stated that when educators recognize the need for improvement in their teaching methodologies and techniques, they become more skilled at teaching writing. The professional teaching standards in the Ecuadorian curriculum given by the Ministry of Education in 2012 are based in the document developed by TESOL. 5 domains are considered: language, culture, curriculum development, assessment, professionalism, and ethical commitment. The effective strategies for improving writing skills, according to Pembroke in 2002, are the following: rapid writing, supporting the main idea, setting the context, adding details, adding content, asking questions to revise writing, webbing, mapping and board, and peer editing. In order to create an inspirational environment for English as a foreign language writers and preparing them to write, we consider the following graphic organizers, cooperative learning, read alouds. Scaffolding instruction is a process that offers learners support to go beyond with the use of technology, for instance, wikis, blogs, or casual chats. To consider the role of the teacher when the teaching writing, we take into account the statement of Brown, who in 1994 says, "A facilitator offers guide in a respectful atmosphere." That is why it is observed that teachers' roles in the implementation of the Ecuadorian English curriculum, we are based on a learning-centered approach, and the expected outcomes from the students are learners will be brought up to a B1 level as identified a common European framework of references, CEFR. The institution where the study was effected is named 9 de Octubre Secondary School, founded in 1886. With a population of 4,200 learners, it has 112 educators in a permanent tenure and 65 in a temporary contract. The English teaching staff is formed by 16 teachers. There are 42 classrooms using 3 shifts. It is located in Machal Loro in the urban parish of Hambeli. Methodological framework. The present chapter goes over the methodological principles as well as their enactment. To start, the research design is of action research with a mixed approach, both quantitative and qualitative. The research setting. The data was collected in Colegio de Bachillerato 9 de Octubre, during a 30-day period, from February 1st to March 2, 2019. The sample population, 150 second baccalaureate learners, and also 12 educators who answered a questionnaire. The method of data analysis, as we already said, the data analysis process consisted of a mixed approach, quantitative and qualitative methods. And the instruments are surveys, observation checklists, and questionnaires. Data analysis and findings. In the first chart, we see the analysis of questionnaire of teachers, and we consider the gender of English teaching staff. We can see that over 83% of the teachers are female and 16% of the teachers are male. Age of educators. In general, the majority of the teachers of English, namely 3/4, is under the age of 50. Only 1/4 of them is over 50 or 60 years of age. In other words, most educators are supposed to remain in their teaching positions at the target school for at least the next 15 years. In this graph, we depict the impact of educational activities on teacher development. To start, educators were asked about the impact of methodological courses or workshops. Less than 10% expressed that such events had no impact on their educational development. A similar amount replied that the impact was rather small. Half the teachers said the impact was moderate, and only 1/3 of them reckoned their development received a large impact. Next graph. Workshops or training sessions on writings in the past 2 years. Half of the English teaching staff admitted not having attended any workshop during the past 2 years. One of them mentioned to have been to an event that only took a few hours. And only 1/3 of the teachers recalled to have been to events that lasted at least 1 day. And finally, only one of the instructors recalled to have attended an event that took at least 2 days. According to Richards, the level of attendance by educators to teaching development is the responsibility of schools and administrators to provide opportunities for continuing education and to encourage teachers to participate in them. Preparedness to teaching writing. Interestingly, 1/4 of the teaching staff confessed to be insufficiently prepared to teach English at the previously mentioned level. Moreover, almost 3/5 of the English teachers consider themselves prepared at some extent. Only 2 of the English tutors, that is to say 16%, reply categorically to be well prepared to teach English at a secondary level. The next includes the opinion of students taken in the surveys, the practice during their writing activities. As shown in the graph, 1 out of 2 learners admits that most writing tasks in the textbooks are familiar to them. Meanwhile, 1/3 of them could not decide whether the writing tasks were familiar to them or not. Very few of the pupils denied familiarity with this type of tasks. Lamone's chair in 2015 mentions the need of learners to construct knowledge in meaningful ways upon deep understanding of a topic. Therefore, the more familiar a task is to a student, the faster he or she makes it and solves it correctly. The attitude towards the writing tasks. 1/5 of the students strongly agreed that task designs were making students communicate with each other. Similarly, 1/5 agreed likewise. On the other hand, 1/4 of the pupils were undecided on the communicative properties of the task. Moreover, around a tenth of the learners surveyed disagreed when asked if the writing task fostered communication. Moss and Ross Feldman, 2018, maintained that even when lessons are focused on a reading or writing skill, more learning occurs when L2 learners are engaged in relevant communicative tasks with a dynamic learning environment than to the traditional teacher-led classes. Analysis of writing task observation checklist. The first unit in the book has to integrate activities of reading and writing in the student book section, and 2 more of similar style in the workbook. In the beginning, the tasks in the student book were completed with no exception by the learners, but then the level of fulfillment decreased to 3 out of 5, whereas in the activity book, the first tasks in the activity were finished by 4 out of 5, and then the number went down to 3/5. Completion of task of Unit 2, Healthy Life, Healthy World. The second unit of the textbook includes activities related to identification of elements of organization and connectors of main ideas. It has a higher level of difficulty that requires guidance of educators with a domain of organizational skills aiming to draft essays. The large majority of learners did not complete them, and those who did had similar patterns of structure in their answers. Thus, it can be inferred that the writing activity was guided and the learners did not use their own ideas. Unit number 3, what lies within us? Task completion. The third unit is the last where the writing tasks were completed. The exercises were focused this time on summarizing information from model text. Surprisingly, a revival of the completion of writing tasks was observed. The ratio of task fulfillment in the students' books was of over 9/10 initially. Afterwards, it slightly decreased to 3/4. It is necessary to point that 7 weeks of class were missed in prejudice of the learners and the development of their productive language skills in the month of January. Conclusions. Classroom level. The data collected reveals that the teaching writing performance did not attend the needs of the learners, and occasionally was more than ruled by the routine or because of paperwork from the educators. School level. Findings expose that EFL teachers lack preparation to develop the writing task in the textbook. Also, the data from the observation checklist determined the non-fulfillment of some of the textbook writing tasks. If completed, they mostly lacked of a graded mark. Regional administrational level. Innovative methodological strategies need to be implemented to develop writing skills in secondary school learners. Recommendations. At the classroom level, educators should consider updating their knowledge permanently and constantly, and they should be sponsored by the authorities. Effective writing strategies should be implemented in the community of learners to foster enthusiasm. At the school level, The writing activities should be more stimulating with the use of technological gadgets. In addition, teachers should also apply strategies that involve hands-on activities. At the regional administration level, teachers should consider providing feedback. Proposal: implementation of training sessions to enhance the teaching of writing at 9 de Octubre Secondary School. The aim of the proposal is to optimize the teaching performance of English educators at 9 de Octubre High School through training sessions that enhance their teaching and writing skills and increase their understanding to adapt writing tasks that suit the learner's needs. Specific aims of this proposal are to manage a range of strategies and techniques to teach writing effectively, to integrate authentic writing tasks to the lessons with the support of an accompanying booklet, and also to strengthen confidence in the use of previously unfamiliar methodologies. In the educational context, entire group, 9 de Octubre High School is a large state-based secondary school. It is under the administrative venue of the Educational District Number 7. Trainees targeted 12 educators. Timing, 20 hours weekly during 4 weeks. 15 hours of presence-based activities plus 5 hours of autonomous work. In the overview of the timetable of the proposal, we describe the activities during the week 1, the schedules, 9 to 10:30, 10:45 to 12:15, during Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of week 1, including a coffee break. Same for the second week, yes. And also we include various topics, watching videos, tutorials, wikis, trainees, work extension trainees, etc. At the end, they are going to be assessed and they are going to give a feedback of what they learned and what they can do. Next. Thank you for your attention.